I'm really pleased to join you today and talk about McDonald's journey to sustainable beef. But, another reason that I'm really happy to be here is it gives me a chance to personally thank you for everything that you do to bring safe, affordable, high-quality beef to our customers. In our restaurants, every day, today, 700,000 crew and managers are making Egg McMuffins, brewing coffee, and greeting our customers. And we also realize that there's hardworking men and women, hundreds of thousands of them, that are growing, producing, and delivering food to the back door of our restaurants. So we're very appreciative of that. We know that we're a large system and we touch every part of the supply chain. We definitely couldn't do it without you. So in the few minutes I have, I'm going to share some background about McDonald's, our corporate vision and philosophy, and then I'm going to cover beef, why it's a priority for us, where we're headed, and how we're working together. So a little bit about McDonald's. We have 35,000 restaurants in 120 countries, and 14,000 of those restaurants are in the U.S. We serve almost 39 million customers every day. But what many people are not aware of is that we're a franchise organization, and 80% of our restaurants are run and owned and operated by independent businessmen and women. And the reason why I think that's really important for people to understand and to share is that they're very much a part of the local community. That's their customer base, their livelihood. That's where they hire their teams to run their restaurants, and they contribute to the economic well-being of the community. So in short, they've always been about the community and about being a good neighbor. And that's also a simple way of describing what McDonald's thinks about corporate social responsibility and sustainability. We try not to complicate it. It's really about growing our business and making a difference in society, or by what we call creating shared value. So it's realizing that our business and society, our responsibilities to society, are linked. So when you look from a customer's standpoint, they care about where their products come from, how they're sourced, and the environmental, ethical, and economic impacts of what they buy. But from that global view, the society issues that we all face are also issues for our business. The challenges of feeding a growing population, protecting our natural resources, biodiversity, making food safer, more abundant, and affordable, it's all tied with assuring long-term supply for our restaurants, our operating cost, and our competitive business. So here's a snapshot of our sustainability framework and goals. Again, simply, we have 5 pillars or areas that we're focused on. Food, one of our big areas, is nutrition and our nutrition commitment. Sourcing, which we're going to talk about today, and the commitment to people, as well as giving back to the communities. And when we talk about planet, we're looking at our own restaurants' impact on the environment. So let's go ahead and talk about sourcing. Our beef sustainability effort is not a singular effort. It doesn't stand out there by itself. It's a part of a long-term aspiration to purchase all of our food and packaging from verified sustainable sources. Now, that's a really lofty ambition. And in many cases, the path to get there is uncharted. But we didn't just start on this journey. We've been on it for a long time. So what we do is we work together with suppliers, experts, stakeholders to strengthen our sustainability in our supply chain. And you can see from this graph that really it's been several decades. We've worked over the years. Early on, we actually had a beef rainforest policy. That was way back in 1989. We worked in the early stages on packaging, and Environmental Defense Fund was a huge partner with us in that effort. Animal health and welfare, our supplier code of conduct, and our direct suppliers have been involved for a long time. A lot of people ask us, well, why are we just talking to producers? But our suppliers, our primary suppliers, they've been involved in this in a very long time, and they have an environmental scorecard where they measure their energy, water, and waste as well. So recently, we did define our 5 priority areas globally, and they're up here on the screen. So it's beef, fish, coffee, fiber, and palm oil. And as I talk about beef, you'll see that our experience in some of these other areas has helped shape our thinking around beef. So to get down to it, why is beef important to us? There's really 3 reasons. First, beef is our heritage. It's what we're about. McDonald's is beef, right? But to give a perspective is that 5 of our burgers on their own are billion-dollar brands. So it's our largest area of growth and today's growth and also our future growth. Secondly, customers care about it. They love beef. They want to eat more of it, but they also want to feel good about eating it. They want to know where it comes from, what's in it, how was it prepared, how were the animals cared for, are suppliers taking care of their people, and they want to know the impacts on the environment. They're demanding transparency. I don't think that's any surprise to any of us, and responsibility. And they want to purchase from companies that share their values. And then third, which might be surprising, is that beef is the biggest part of our supply chain environmental footprint. And in fact, beef's carbon footprint equals in total the same amount as our restaurant's environmental impact. So that's why it's a priority for our business. So with this understanding of the importance of beef as a priority, we took a step that I can assure you was something completely new for McDonald's. Earlier this year, I think you all know, we had a commitment to communicated a goal to begin purchasing a portion of our global beef supply from sustainable sources beginning in 2016. Now, we did this without having any agreed definition of sustainable beef and without knowing exactly how we're going to get there. So we know this caused a stir in the industry, and it also did within our company. We're not used to doing that kind of thing. But we did it because we knew that our leadership and support were important to help drive this for our business and the industry. And we also knew that there were significant efforts around the world in charting a direction for sustainable beef, and many, many people committed to bringing this to life. So we thought the time was right for collaboration and action. And our approach is about collaboration. As all of you know, we don't raise cattle, we don't grow feed, we don't produce beef trimmings or make beef patties. We run restaurants. But what we have seen as being a success for us in the past is bringing together the suppliers, the experts, and the stakeholders to collaborate and bring about positive change. And that's how we've approached things when we're talking about fish or coffee. It's taken a very long time, but we've seen extraordinary results. So for beef, our first step was to act as a founding member of the Global Roundtable for Sustainable Beef, and that was way back in 2011. At that time, there were many approaches to sustainability and many entities trying to define it. But we felt it was important to support a multi-stakeholder effort to define sustainable beef and to include every part of the value chain. We felt they all needed to be represented. And I know Cameron's going to talk in detail about this, so I'm not going to spend much time on the Global Roundtable. But we were excited about a milestone that was reached in November with the publishing of a set of global principles, criteria, and guidelines. And that sets the foundation. It's a high-level framework. We know that. It allows for different production systems around the world to establish their specific indicators, metrics, and practices. And that's work that we've also been involved in addition to participating on the Global Roundtable. So in Europe, we're working together through the SCI platform, the Sustainable Agriculture Initiative platform. In the U.S., the NCBA is leading the efforts. In September, early as September, there were a group of stakeholders from across the chain that met in Denver to examine the sustainability efforts underway. And an outcome of that meeting was an agreement to move ahead with development of a multi-stakeholder initiative. So there's a group of 12 people, 2 representatives for each segment of the supply chain, that are going to help chart the path forward. And this group's work is now ongoing, and it's going to be presented in January, and we're part of that team. So all of that, though, does build on all the work that you've all been doing as part of the NCBA over the past several years. Their work on the U.S. beef life cycle assessment is really very impressive. I saw all of the flyers on the tables, and it really does demonstrate the work that they've done, how productive the U.S. industry has been and how progressive it's been. And we also recognize that there's many stewardship programs out there today. Many of you are involved in them and have been your whole life. And I also want to call out the work being done in Canada, and not just because they're in the room, but it's an important pilot market for McDonald's. And from our perspective, we chose this as a pilot market because it's a closed-loop platform for us. We only have 1,400 restaurants in Canada. 100% of our beef comes from Canadian producers, and we only have one beef patty supplier and 2 abattoirs. Also, the Canadian Roundtable for Sustainable Beef is established and aligned with the Global Roundtable. So our hope is that we can use a pilot program in Canada to learn, share, and scale sustainable practices and to serve as a learning lab for us. So I know in these 10 minutes I covered a lot of ground, but what's really important is that we all have a vested interest in beef and ensuring a viable supply chain for the future. That we recognize the progress that's already been made and the strong heritage that exists, but understand that we can do more. That beef sustainability isn't a destination, it's a journey of continuous improvement. And that everyone in the value chain needs to collaborate. No one can do this alone. Our customers are changing, and we need to change and meet their expectations. So I know that we can create that future together, and I know it's a bright one. So thanks for your time.